Good morning, class. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is I, Dr. Professor Geno. Please take your seats, grab your coffee, grab your notes, okay? Today's lecture is covering retaining your agency, all right? Retaining your ability to choose. Now, first, we must start with a definition of what agency is. And here's one that I particularly like. It's kind of wholesome. Agency is the sense of control that you feel in life, your capacity to influence your own thoughts and behavior, and have faith in your ability to handle a wide range of tasks and situations. Does that make sense, class? I will read it one more time. Agency is the sense of control that you feel in life, your capacity to influence your own thoughts and behavior, and have faith in your ability to handle a wide range of tasks and situations. Why is agency so important? Now listen, class. Agency is so important, one, because I talk about it so often, so you guys really need to know what the heck I'm talking about. But I'm going to start with a story, a little analogy, if you will. Have some coffee. Here's the analogy, class, right? We are on the West Coast. We are in San Diego. We walk to the beach. We're at the beach next to the ocean, and we're looking westward, and we say, I want to end up in Hawaii. That's great. Hawaii's pretty. It's super cool. There's a bunch to do. Island life is awesome. I can get why you would want to go to Hawaii. Hawaii is really cool, right? And you say, all right, what's your plan to get to Hawaii? And you say, well, I've got this super sick inner tube, right? My little floaty. And I'm just going to get in the floaty. I'm going to paddle out into the ocean until the currents are taking me places. And then I'm just going to float with the current. Huh? You're just going to float with the current? And you say, yeah. You know, I'll end up in Hawaii eventually. I'm like, okay, I don't know if that's how that works, boss, but all right. And so you get in your floaty and you paddle out and you're just floating around. How long do you think it takes for you to hit Hawaii? If you ever hit Hawaii, right? Your odds are like infinitesimal. You'll probably be like 76 by the time you actually hit it, if and when you ever do. Because you got to go all the way around the currents, and like there's no guarantee you get it on the first pass, so maybe you're just circling the freaking Pacific Ocean for forever, you know, assuming you don't die of starvation and all the other stuff, like if you were actually just floating out there and everything was fine. Okay, we'll get into the analogy in a second here. The second person, Dr. Professor Geno, because he likes to sail, says, I want to go to Hawaii. I have this boat. I have this plan. Here are my tools. Here are my backups. Here's my navigation equipment, right? Every 2 days, I'm going to check my navigation equipment and readjust my course, and I'm going to sail to Hawaii. Here are my backups. Here's my systems. Okay, what are the odds Dr. Professor Geno succeeds and not just gets to Hawaii before the other person, but gets to Hawaii at all, right? If he's got redundancy and motor and fuel and good sails and navigation equipment and Starlink so he can get the internet or GPS positioning, and he's just readjusting his course, he's going to get there, right? And God forbid something goes wrong along the way. If he has the right equipment, he can signal for help with his GPS transceiver, and a shipping container vessel will come by and hopefully pick him up. So there's even added safety to it. What is the purpose of this analogy, Dr. Professor Geno? I'm here trying to take notes, and you're not making any sense. All right, Jimmy, calm down, class. Here we go. This is the point of the analogy. Agency, right, if you guys remember from the definition, is your ability to influence your own thoughts, behaviors, and actions, and believing that you can influence the actions and the outcomes of the stuff around you, situations and tasks, right? Hopping into the ocean with your floaty is exactly like saying, I have no agency in life. And for wealth creation, it's critical to have agency, because if you don't, and whether or not you've actually internalized this and told yourself, you know, oh, hey, I have agency or I don't, you already have a perception of yourself. You may have not vocalized it and created a clever or consolidated thesis on what that is, but you already believe something about yourself. You're an actualized human being, all right? You have your own brain. That means you already believe something about yourself, whether you know it or not. But saying I don't have the power to influence my outcomes, stuff just happens to me. It's not my fault I'm poor. It's not my fault, you know, my dad didn't teach me this. It's not my fault I didn't get an inheritance. It's not my fault the market crashed. It's not my fault that I never invested. Nobody taught me. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. That's having zero agency, right? Because you're saying, oh, all these other decisions did it for me. I never actually did anything, right? And you wonder why you didn't end up in Hawaii. Are you serious? Come on, class, wake up. Obviously, you're not going to end up in Hawaii, right? If you're out here trying to build wealth and you're like, oh, I'm just going to, let everyone else make all the decisions for me throughout life. And you're like, oh, why didn't you become wealthy? And why didn't you live the life you wanted? And why don't you have any money to give down to your kids and give them the lives that you never had? What happened? Well, I just let everyone else make every choice for me. And, my boss didn't give me that promotion when I needed it. And then the VP didn't recognize my value and he fired me. And then I didn't invest in anything because I was too scared. And when I did invest in something, it was because someone told me that it was a super hot stock. And then it, dropped to zero. And, then I didn't do all this other stuff. And it's like, and so I didn't become wealthy because it's everyone else's fault. I didn't hit Hawaii because the currents didn't take me. Not my fault. What am I going to do? Class, please get on a sailboat or a powerboat or whatever else and take control of the situation, right? The sailboat is like taking agency and having agency in your life. Yes, I'm getting on the ocean and it's unpredictable and there's tides and there's storms and things are going to go wrong and it's going to push me and it's going to shove me and I might run out of stuff and things are going to break on the trip. Guess what? That's life, right? That is literally life. But if you plan, if you have redundancy, and if you course correct every couple of days in this analogy, right, towards Hawaii, you're going to end up there. Because how could you not, right? Have agency in your life when you're building wealth, class. Please. When you're waiting for the promotion from your boss or the raise or for the VP to recognize your abilities in whatever project, you are acting like the person on the floaty. Well, when the rest of the world figures out how amazing I am, I'm going to get what's due to me. That's not how this works. That's not how this works. Take your opportunity and your action in your own hands and make something of it. Make your own luck. Literally, make your own luck. What are you guys doing? You have to do what's right for you and take action. You have to learn. You have to figure out what books to buy. You have to read the books. You have to figure out what to invest in. You have to start small. You got to learn what DCAing is. All right? Make your own luck. Stop waiting for others to act. All right? I made a little list here of stuff that most people that get on the inner tube and just float around, things that they're waiting for other people to decide for them. Here we go. Stop waiting for promotions, inheritance, tax returns, a raise, recognition, assurance, the perfect opportunity that doesn't exist, class. Next year to invest or some point in the future. All of those are floaty vibes, all right? Those are all floaty vibes. You're just letting the currents take you wherever you are, and maybe you end up in Hawaii, maybe you end up in Indonesia, maybe you just end up floating in the ocean for the rest of your life. The opposite of that, taking agency, having agency in your life and making your own choices, right? You don't get promoted, you find somewhere that will hire you already at the promoted level. You don't have inheritance, tough luck, you can learn. And the good news is most of the people that get a huge inheritance aren't half as smart as you and don't care as much as you, right? So if they do get it, 3-generation theory anyways, first generation makes it, second generation preserves it, third generation wastes it. Didn't get inheritance? That's okay. Trust me, you'll be fine. Waiting for your tax return. If you're waiting on your tax return to pay bills or invest, you have gone so wrong, right? Like really? Once a year is when you get money enough to float and do something? Please, you should have a better saving schedule than that and a better investing schedule, okay? Pay attention. A raise, waiting for a raise. Same problem with the promotion. They're just stringing you along, bro. It's always cheaper for a company to straggle out a raise for somebody and tell them that they're going to give it to them instead of actually paying them what they're worth because they're already in the company and they're basically playing a game of chicken with you. Are you going to leave? Or can we just promise them a raise for 5 years, never give them one, and then after year 5, then they finally leave? And then we have to hire somebody at the right pay rate that we were going to raise this guy eventually, never. But now we have to hire somebody so they will pay that rate. Well, guess what? You need to be the guy that goes in after the other guy already quit so that they give you the right amount from the start. That's what I'm trying to tell you, class. It's not rude. It's not mean. It's not BS. It's the reality of the situation. Okay? Take your own actions. Have your own agency, please. Make your own luck. Make your own luck. The harder I work, the luckier I get. It's okay, class. I know it's not easy, but the reality of the situation is that. Does every action you take, lead to success? No, not at all. However, and this is a absolutely immense, big, huge, however, class, every action you take has a better chance of success for your own interests than any action anyone else would take. And that I can, not legally, promise you. Class, if this has been at all interesting to you, I am glad. Hopefully you got some good notes. Have a good morning. Write something down in the comments. Subscribe to Wealth Creation College if the type of content is interesting to you. I am Dr. Professor Geno, the lecturer for today. And for homework and extra credit, you can write something down below that you have abdicated agency on, where somebody else is making the decisions for you. And now you will no longer let them do so. And you will make your own decisions for yourself. That'll be your homework. I am Dr. Professor Geno once again. Class dismissed.